Crypto holders, we need to have a quick conversation because I believe that things are about to get wildly out of hand and many people are not ready for it. So of course, over the last 24 to 48 hours, we have seen crypto go absolutely bananas. Of course, the majority of the reason why Bitcoin is pumping is because of the narrative of what is happening not only with USDC, but with the banks also. Now, the majority of the reason why we are seeing Bitcoin pumping and many other risk on assets is due to the fact that many people are somewhat expecting the Fed to start to reverse its course on quantitative tightening back towards quantitative easing. Now, of course, the reason they believe this is due to the fact that we did see the banking system start to get threatened. We saw that the impact that their rate hikes were having on the market were quite bad. And of course, due to that, we saw three major banks go down. Of course, Signature Bank, SVB Bank, and Silvergate Bank. Now, and coincidentally, those were all involved in the crypto, but that's another story for another day. Now, although this is the case, and although we are starting to see that these banks have had a pretty big impact on the rest of the market and people were freaking out, I'm not quite sure that this is big enough to completely take the Fed off of track and start to go away from their ideology that inflation needs to be fought and brought down. And so as people are getting all excited that quantitative easing is on the way and that we're finally going to get the money printers back on, I'm really not quite sure that that is the case. You know, what's weird about this whole situation is that as we were starting to see all of these banks collapsing, people were saying, oh, this is great, the money printers are back on. Oh, this is fantastic, the money printers are back on. And I'm thinking like, hey, do you guys not remember what got us in this situation? Do you not remember what put us in a situation in which inflation was causing many households to not even be able to afford breakfast? It's the money printers coming on. And so as everybody was celebrating the money printers turning on, I'm sitting around looking like, hey guys, this is the reason why inflation is here, and we have to understand something. Inflation is still here, right? Just 2 weeks ago, we were all worried because, of course, PCE inflation was back on the rise, and that inflation possibly was going to see another resurgence, and that the Fed was going to have to go up to 50 BPS, and this was literally last week. And so obviously we have all kind of got a little bit, I guess, forgetful of what things were looking like just recently, and I don't think the Fed has. I don't think the Fed has forgotten what their true target is right now, and that is to bring inflation back down to 2%. And although things like SVB are bad, they are not bad enough, I don't believe. I don't think that is bad enough for them to say, oh, well, screw it, let's just let inflation run and see what happens because our efforts are good enough right now. No, I don't believe that to be the case. I think maybe a 50 BPS is a little bit excessive and they shouldn't do that because it's every time they do that from this point forward, they're putting more banks at risk. But completely reversing and turning on the money printers and just saving everybody from this situation isn't the way to go about this right now unless we want 20% inflation or 25% inflation and we really want to cause some chaos. And so as we do go forward, what I want people to realize is that if you're invested in a Bitcoin, you're invested in a crypto, you need to get to the core of it. Personally, I did buy more Bitcoin, and I have been, I guess, a part of the reason why it's pumped, maybe if it's just 1,000%. And the reason is that when USDC crashed, and whenever these banks started going down, Bitcoin was the only place that I actually felt safe. I was like, well, shit, at least I have a chance in Bitcoin. I feel like if it's in USDC that depegs or a bank that goes under, I don't really have much of a chance. Now, of course, this was before depositors were made whole and all this crazy stuff, but Bitcoin was where I felt confident. And I do believe that people are also feeling that, and that is a part of why Bitcoin has gone up, because people understand now the real traditional reason and purpose as to why it can serve us all very well. But the people who are saying, oh, this is it, quantitative easing is here and we're finally reversing and the Fed's going to pivot and they're buying into crypto, I think they're going to be shocked when that doesn't happen. I think they're going to be shocked when the Fed doesn't just start to reverse rates or cut rates. Maybe pause, maybe, but it wouldn't shock me at all if they do continue up slowly and gradually just to make sure that they are still fighting inflation as much as they can. And whenever they don't start to reverse, whenever they don't start to cut these rates in the next meeting or maybe even the next meeting, I do worry that we're going to see some of these risk on assets start to pull back towards the downside. And if that is the case, I do believe it's a great buying opportunity because, of course, some of the kind of short-term investors will be out. But I don't want you investors who are more traditionalists and the ones who are investing for the right reasons to be freaked out because of it, okay? So I'm just giving a bit of a warning here, right? This isn't over. Inflation's not gone. That narrative is still in play. And until that narrative starts to calm itself, you cannot be too confident in this market. Slowly dollar cost average in. Don't go super long right now. Don't go super short right now. Don't go huge on leverage. Just slowly dollar cost average your way in until these narratives start to clear up and the picture gets clearer. That is the best way to go about this. And if you don't go about it like that, you are simply just gambling with a lot of money. And I don't believe that to be the right thing to do in a market that is being manipulated every single day. Okay, so I'm going to continue to update you as this all plays out, but be careful, guys. Be cautious. This narrative inflation is nowhere near over, and although investors will start to care less and less about it, this is affecting people every single day, and it has to be figured out, and the Fed knows that, and they will not stop until it starts to go down. So make sure you stay on your toes, do not get too far ahead of yourselves, stick to the dollar cost average strategy, and we will talk very soon. Peace out, everybody.